AITA for telling my ex-GF's parents that I don't regret anything and taking away from her our baby is the best decision for the baby and mine safety? I want to make this shorter as I can and I'm sorry now for my English but it's not my first language. So me and my ex-GF have been together for 5 years and everything was really perfect. We of course had up and downs but nothing of big and we always solved everything talking and confronting each other on the issues so really it was all fine. But then everything changed when we had our baby, Kale. We were living together since 3 years, our work was going extremely well, we were finally both stable financially so we decided it was time to have a family and she became pregnant at the first attempt. But when she found out she was pregnant everything changed and she started to resent everything for no reason at all. When she was pregnant she was always angry, mad and even started arguments on the smallest things. I thought that it was something connected to her hormones, pregnancy and all this stuff so I tried to understand it and to be patient more than I could avoiding arguments and fights. But when Kale was born things got worse and worse reaching the point of no return. Only after 2 weeks of Kale's birth she became totally another girl and I can't remember only one day where she wasn't mad and screaming at me and even at Kale making her cry. So I decided to ask at my boss to work from home and he accepted because I was scared that she would hurt Kale. This was the best decision I ever made because when she was at home she was screaming and yelling at me and at Kale for whatever reason of this world like Kale was crying and she was shouting, I forgot to put away my glass and she was screaming, I was changing Kale's diaper and she was screaming. Literal hell for everything. I told her many times calmly and in my best way to seek a therapist for help cause we couldn't take it anymore but this was just doing things worst and worst. My point break was a year ago when she, out of the blue, started to point a knife, took from the kitchen, on me and Kale that was crying because she needed a diaper change. I mean I was working with Kale at my side and she showed up with the knife pointing at me and Kale and started to yell stuff about killing me and that disgusting thing, of Kale. I wasn't afraid of my incalamity but of Kale so I talked with her calmly and told her to put down the knife so we could talk about it and resolve the issue. After 20 minutes like this she put it down and went to sleep randomly. To me was enough so I packed all my stuff and Kale's too and immediately run out of that house and we drove to my parents' house. When we arrived they saw both of us in a state of shock and after I explained what happened they told me to absolutely break up with her and have the full custody of Kale cause my ex would for sure hurt her or even kill her. Long story short we broke up and I had the full custody of Kale while my wife was sent to a mental hospital cause all this only got her mental health worse and she couldn't even look at me or Kale without screaming and yelling the worst things you could imagine. A week ago finally all this mess and unbelievable drama ended but the most shocking things were her parents cause they were still defending my ex by saying that I ruined her life and I must be ashamed of myself for what I did to their daughter. I blow up on them and told them that when I called them and texted them about my ex's behavior they never did anything and always told me to be a man and suck it up so it was their fault and not mine cause I tried my best for my ex and they never. And then other not very nice things that I don't regret. A few days ago I talked about this with my parents and they told me that I was right to say that her parents never cared about their daughter but there was a nicer way to say it and I should apologize to them but I don't think to be wrong and to apologize to them. So AITA?